everyone, I'm Heather Pauloff.
And I'm Tatiana Cash, filling in for Sophia Periconi, and welcome to On Your Feed, your quick look at stories, videos, and moments that people across Northwest Ohio are talking about right now.
Today, from a teen takeover that ended with police deploying pepperballs to a new push to change Ohio law after a high-profile true crime documentary.
Plus, the return of a small-town landmark, traffic frustrations in Maumee, as well as mysterious gorillas making people smile all across Toledo.
We're here to show you the shorts that you'll see while scrolling and add context that you won't get from just flicking with your thumb. First up on your feed is a weekend celebration that drew a much bigger crowd than expected.
Yeah, now police were called to a West Toledo bar after hundreds of teens showed up for a graduation event. Now here's Faith Stahowski with more.
This is what Golden Road Bar in West Toledo looked like Saturday night. Advertised as Teen Takeover Part 2, it was a graduation celebration for students from multiple high schools. A teen takeover is typically when hundreds of teens show up and either fight or cause major disruptions.
It's graduation season and a lot of people want to celebrate their win and come outside, and that's what they did.
Larnell Williams Jr., also known as Party Peanut, says he organized the get-together and that the bar was turned into a teen-only venue with all alcohol locked away.
I feel like in this city, the teens don't have a platform, or youth or teens don't have a platform to really have fun. They don't have anywhere to go. I wanted to give them somewhere to have fun at.
But as the crowd grew from dozens to hundreds, security shut the event down, one of those being Dale Cliché with Eider Security.
We had seen how large it had gotten and thought it was in the best interest to kind of close it down, just to avoid anything. So by the time they actually got on scene and were coming in, the party was mostly over.
Police say the venue was over capacity and that hundreds of teens outside were causing problems, including fights and climbing on vehicles. Here's a snippet from Cliché's body camera when TPD arrived.
What, you guys got a call for, or just overcrowded? Yeah, overcrowded.
The organizer tells WTOL 11 the goal was to give teens a safe space to celebrate during the graduation season.
But as that crowd grew from dozens to hundreds, security shut the event down before police arrived.
So police say no one was arrested, but officers did deploy pepper balls after the crowd was outside and they failed to disperse.
The bar also canceled another event planned for the following night, saying it didn't want to cause further disruptions in the neighborhood.
Now, next on your feed, a police encounter that sparked questions across Toledo.
The video you see on the left is from a teen's cell phone. On the right, body camera footage released by Toledo police. Both after an interaction between officers and a group of teenagers went viral.
Recording. Come over here. Come over here. How old are you?
16.
Come over here. You got anything on you?
Nope. I got nothing.
Okay, come here.
No, I can show you.
Nope.
Oh my God. Here. I know I'm not gonna do nothing, but why are you? A reasonable search. Like,
I'm just patting you down.
touch my butt though.
I'm just patting you down.
I ain't gonna I can just show you. All right.
How old are you?
I
16?
just told you. Yeah.
What's your name?
Oh, what is he looking for?
You ever been in trouble before? Okay, when we saw you.
Start that off better. Why y'all so angry? Well, why is he so angry? You. When?
Okay, this is what happened. You crossed over there outside of the crosswalk.
Wait, what?
Jaywalking.
That's why y'all
Jaywalking.
stopped me?
So it's allowed to. We're allowed to
So
stop
you can
you.
search me for that?
I didn't search you. I patted you down because
So
your hands outside of your sleeve in your hoodie, tucked away, like you're holding something, and then you keep checking back on us.
Wait,
Yo,
You know what
y'all learned a black card watching you. Of course, I know.
We were watching you. We were watching you until you were watching us.
So wait, y'all can't just tell somebody.
So when y'all went down Detroit, that was y'all, right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And then we
So
made the
I
turn,
peeped.
and then you're looking at us, and then we drive by, and then you're still looking at us.
And
then we turn back around.
Look what y'all writing. Look what y'all writing.
I said something first.
All black police vehicle. What am I? I'm not gonna look. Okay. Let's just not look, just because they're the law.
Based on our experiences, people who are interested in us. And then she shot at her mom.
She shot at her mom and she's arrested.
She's a criminal.
But y'all take me for this.
I didn't say you were. You brought up that 15-year-old girl who's a criminal. You're giving us criminal indications, so we stopped you.
Criminal? No, don't say that. Don't say that. I don't think it's that.
Go away, because you're annoying and stupid.
You can't talk to me like that.
Oh, we
Have a good one, man.
say whatever you
All
want.
right, thank you.
Use the crosswalk. Use the crosswalk. Use the crosswalk. Use the crosswalk.
I didn't choose to fucking move here.
Use the crosswalk.
While the body camera video ends there, it's what happens next that sparked outrage across the city.
One of the teens recorded cell phone video of the encounter, including a comment from an officer that quickly spread across social media.
So after you hear it, you'll also hear from a mother of a 15-year-old in the video and Toledo Mayor Wade Capsicavage.
You're giving us criminal indications, so we stopped you.
Criminal? No, don't say that. Don't say that. I don't think it's that.
Go away, because you're annoying and stupid. And you're dumb.
Children should never be made fun of or degraded for the financial situations that they have no part in.
I have never been more bothered by anything I have seen in my time as mayor. It totally flies in the face of everything I believe, that the police department believes, that we all believe as Toledoans.
The video has drawn sharp criticism from community leaders, including, as you just heard, the mayor. TPD Chief Michael Trendley called the exchange, quote, hard to listen to, and said it's not how the department expects officers to communicate with the public. And until the internal investigation is complete, questions about what happens next remain unanswered.
Now, you might have heard the group in that body camera video referencing another teen, the one officers there referring to as a criminal. She's the same teen who was at the center of a viral video arrest back in April, which sparked community outrage, protests, and calls for accountability from Toledo police.
That video showed an officer taking the teen to the ground during an arrest, which you see here, drawing criticism from community members, city leaders, and the NAACP. Now, police say that same teen is facing new charges after an alleged shooting inside a home.
Now, no one was injured, but she's been charged with felonious assault, aggravated menacing, and domestic violence. She's also facing a separate felony charge. From the April incident after police say she spat on an officer.
Turning to the search for a missing woman from Lenawee County that's taken a major turn.
Investigators are now searching a new area of the Bahamas after discovering evidence they say does not match the story they were first given.
Melissa Andrews has been following this case from the beginning.
The U.S. Coast Guard says it's now reopening the search for Lynette after it says GPS data on the couple's sailboat does not match the location where Lynette's husband Brian said that they were when she fell off their dinghy. This is the dinghy. It's 6 foot long. Brian said that they encountered some rough water in the Bahamas on April 4th and that Lynette fell overboard. Now, officials with the Coast Guard are saying because of where Brian said that this all happened, they may have been searching the wrong area for Lynette this entire time. So now that they have this GPS data, they're going to refocus their search in another area. This is the sailboat in question. It's called the Soulmate. The U.S. Coast Guard already seized this boat and is reportedly processing evidence at its lab facility in Quantico, Virginia. Brian Hooker was detained in the Bahamas following her disappearance for several days. He was never charged with any crime, but he was heavily questioned and then released. At the time, he told the media that he would never stop searching for Lynette. However, just the day after his release, he returned back to the U.S., and it's now been 2 months since Lynette disappeared. And Lynette's family has always questioned Brian's involvement. I talked to both her mother and her daughter, Carly, who told me the two had a history of fighting. They were very on and off. They especially fought when alcohol was involved. We also have reports from people who boated with them that they had a tumultuous relationship.
Now, the Coast Guard is now preparing to send divers into the new search area after investigators recovered location data they say contradicts where Brian Hooker told them his wife disappeared.
Brian Hooker has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing and has never been charged in connection with his wife's disappearance.
But this new search could help investigators answer one of the biggest questions in this case, whether they've been looking in the right place all along.
And more than 2 months after Lynette Hooker vanished, authorities say the investigation is still active. A high-profile Ohio criminal case is sparking new debate about who should be allowed to profit from infamy.
Now, a new petition is calling for changes to state law after a true crime documentary brought national attention to a deadly crash.
Here's Kaylee Marentet.
There has been a lot of talk online about the new Netflix documentary, The Crash, and now there's a new online petition calling on Ohio lawmakers to update the state's Son of Sam laws. This is after the new attention to the Mackenzie Shirilla case out of Strongsville, Ohio, that's near Cleveland. The petition was started by the family of Dominic Russo after the release of that Netflix documentary. Supporters want Ohio to expand current laws to limit convicted violent offenders from making money from social media, sponsorships, documentaries, or online fundraising connected to their crimes. Right now, this petition has not been introduced as legislation at the State House. Shirilla was convicted of intentionally crashing her car, killing her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and friend Davion Flanagan, and is currently in prison.
Supporters are calling the proposal Dom and Davion's Law. It's named after, of course, the two young men who were killed in the crash.
They want Ohio's existing Son of Sam law updated for the social media era, arguing that current restrictions don't address things like live stream gifts, sponsored content, or online fundraising.
The petition already gathered more than 100,000 signatures so far. It has not, though, been introduced into as legislation for the State House.
Supporters say the goal is to make sure people convicted of serious violent crimes can't turn public attention into profit.
Put the gun down! Put the gun down! Put it down!
New body camera video shows a police shooting from start to finish.
Yeah, Toledo police just released this footage from a confrontation which happened last month involving an armed man with a shotgun.
The video picks up as officers arrive and shows what happened in the moments before shots were fired.
You call? Put the gun down. 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 520 man with a gun. Put the gun down. Down. Put the gun down. Put the gun down. 520 shots fired.
Shots fired. One time's almost out, 520.
110's on scene.
11.
Put that gun down!
520, Dr. Safety.
Put the gun down! Put the gun down!
One time's on scene, one time.
Put it down! Put the gun down! Put the gun down! Put it down! Put the gun down! Put it down!
520.
Put the gun down! $520. Shots fired. One down.
Fired. Suspects down.
Put it down. Get down. Put it down. Stay on the ground. Put it down. Stay on the ground. Sit down. Roll over. Roll over. Put your hand behind your back. We're going to need medical.
Police say officers were responding to reports of a man threatening to kill multiple people while loading a shotgun.
After the shooting, Brandon Pichette survived his injuries and was taken to the hospital before being charged.
A Lucas County grand jury now has indicted him on 2 counts of felonious assault along with 2 firearm specifications.
And court records show the same grand jury found no further investigation was needed into the officer's use of force in the case. The weekend can be a time of kids' sports, family gatherings, or just some rest and relaxation.
Definitely. But if your weekends have taken you between Maumee and Perrysburg, you may have dealt with a drive that actually tested your patience.
Tim Miller gets answers about the construction congestion and what's being done to give you a little relief.
Traffic backups continue to cause headaches because of the work to improve the I-475 south lanes between Maumee and Perrysburg. And now the chief of police for Maumee is talking about what needs to be done to ease the frustration. If you got caught up in it over the weekend, Conant Street is the last place you want to be on weekends this spring and summer. This is what it was like 3 weeks ago and again this past weekend. Traffic backed up and drivers frustrated. Maumee Police Chief Josh Sproul said that he talked to his public service director on Monday morning to try to provide information to ODOT on the timing of the lights through uptown Maumee. He's hoping those traffic signal timings can be tweaked to help traffic flow better, but it won't be easy.
But Conant Street and the trail are tied together with programming, so we got to make sure that we're not making it worse somewhere else by trying to fix here. So that's what the traffic engineers are for.
Maumee's police chief says one possible fix could be just traffic signal timing, changing that. But it's not as simple, though, as flipping a switch.
Engineers are looking at whether lights in uptown Maumee can be adjusted without creating bigger problems elsewhere along Conant in the Anthony Wayne Trail.
Meanwhile, more southbound closures are planning for the next 2 weekends, and then the project is actually going to shift to the northbound lanes in July.
Until then, ODOT's recommendation remains the same. Skip Conant Street altogether and use the official detour if you can.
And be ready. ODOT is looking at moving over to the northbound lanes later this summer, so expect more delays and more closures in July.
Next on your feed, 2 videos that had people doing a double take this week.
Yeah, so one shows a massive fireball which is erupting over Florida, and the other one shows people hanging more than 100 feet in the air on a stalled roller coaster.
Jeff Smith breaks down both of these videos.
2 stories from yesterday somehow got even crazier today. First, that massive Blue Origin explosion in Florida. When I first saw the video, I thought it looked like an atomic bomb going off. Well, it turns out it wasn't during a launch at all. It actually happened during a ground test of Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket. Well, now investigators are trying to figure out what caused the fireball that destroyed the rocket and damaged the launch pad. The setback comes just days after Blue Origin landed new NASA work, and as Jeff Bezos tries to close the gap with Elon Musk's SpaceX, thankfully, nobody was hurt.
So this is a very critical problem for NASA to deal with. It's going to obviously delay the New Glenn's development. It's a pretty new rocket to start with, and this is going to set them back, certainly.
Then there was that roller coaster situation in Galveston, Texas, near Houston. Yesterday, we knew riders were stranded 100 feet in the air, but today we learned they were stuck there for nearly 4 hours while firefighters rescued them one by one. 4 hours, hanging almost straight up. In the Texas heat, the older I get, the less I like ladders, roofs, and second-story windows. 4 hours on that ride? Man, you'd have to sedate me before you get me back on the ground. One video looked like a scene from a disaster movie. The other looked like my worst fear. And honestly, I don't know which video is harder to watch.
I mean, I know which video, in my opinion, is harder to watch. I'm talking here, the giant explosion, because like we were saying, you see an explosion, let's say, off in the distance. I'm going to just walk back on inside.
I just saw the end.
Just accept it.
I don't know, though, the roller coaster, 4 hours.
Livid. And then who do I write a comment to? Who do I sue? How does this work? So upset. So upset.
All right, well.
Sorry, well, moving on. For Blue Origin, the big question now isn't just what happened to the rocket, it's just how much damage was done to the launch pad.
The explosion could delay future missions, including work connected to NASA's plans to return astronauts to the moon.
Oh, okay. So as for the roller coaster, though, 8 riders were students on a senior trip. Oh man, who ended up stranded on there for hours while crews worked to safely get them down. I'm sure that affected like their whole trip for the rest of the day, though.
I would venture to guess they've got a cool story to tell.
Valid.
Yeah. Firefighters say a big part of that rescue was keeping everyone calm, reassuring riders the safety equipment would work and that help was on the way. Yeah, if that
Imagine getting the phone call that your baby was stuck on a roller coaster.
Oh.
Livid.
Nope.
Livid. See?
All right. Moving on from there. Summer is coming up and schools are letting out.
Yeah, and that means the final days for one building which has been a part of a community for generations.
Laura Sandlin joins students in saying goodbye to Hiawatha Elementary as Washington Local prepares for a major transition this fall.
The chalk here on the sidewalk will soon be washed away in just a matter of days, and that's exactly what's going to become the memory of Hiawatha Elementary. I spoke with Superintendent Christy Martin, and she tells me that the closure is all about the district trying to make smart financial decisions. And with the new Whitmer Middle School opening this fall, numbers here at Hiawatha would have dropped below 200, and the district says it's just not realistic for them to keep the doors open. Part of that comes from the fact that all 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students will be attending the new middle school in the fall. And the district currently operates 7 elementary schools, with Hiawatha already being the smallest. Students will be reassigned to 2 nearby elementary schools, and the building will become a preschool center operated by the Educational Service Center. Washington Local will be leasing the building, and the ESC will employ staff, with the district covering utilities. Martin says there's been a need for expanded preschool services for quite some time, and the school will offer a sliding scale tuition system, including reduced cost or a free option for some families.
It's going to be perfect for preschool, so I think we never want to close an elementary, but it's fiscally responsible for us to close it, merge that building, and I think having the preschool there will only benefit our community.
And now the Timberwolves are saying goodbye with their very last howl. And Superintendent Christy Martin says that while the building's closure is all about low enrollment numbers, now the building will be seeing a new life with even smaller paws.
District leaders say Hiawatha's enrollment would have dropped to fewer than 200 students, making it the smallest elementary school in Washington Local.
So the good news for families is that the building won't be sitting empty for too long.
Yeah, Washington Local hopes to double its preschool capacity there, expanding early childhood education, that is, and those options for local families.
Yes, so the closure is actually tied directly to the opening of the new $80 million Whitmer Middle School. It's going to bring all the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders together in the district under one roof.
Very exciting stuff there.
I think so.
Have you seen the video yet? A roller coaster stunt that got a lot of people talking. And we're not talking about the one that got stuck.
Not the one that got stuck, it's something else. This is actually one YouTuber who actually decided to turn a ride on the Millennium Force into a food challenge. And now he's in trouble.
This is how you get banned from all Six Flags parks across the country.
First of all, he's eating a chicken nugget on top of the Millennium Force. Number 2, the person next to him is filming him. Also something that, at least the last time I went to Cedar Point, was not allowed on the rides.
Yeah, and a spokesperson for Cedar Point says you can't eat on the ride because it's a safety risk.
If you've ever been on a roller coaster, you can understand that eating can be very difficult on those and is a very high choking hazard.
So this is a YouTuber who is trying to pull off this stunt, and as we mentioned, this has now landed him banned from Six Flags parks across the country. That includes California, Texas, New Jersey, and everything in between.
Do you think that being banned from the park was worth this stunt?
Let us know.
No. In my opinion, I don't know if it was necessarily, was it worth it for them? No, it was not worth it for you guys.
They make money off those videos, though, so.
Well, then, okay. Well,
I don't know how much money he made off that, though.
Wow. Cedar Point says this isn't about the chicken nuggets. It's about the safety. They didn't have a specific, request about nuggets.
They're just, you're gone. Park officials say that food, phones, and other loose items, maybe like dip, are prohibited on rides because they can become projectiles or create a choking hazard.
Yeah, that can be really dangerous. You think about how fast things go. The YouTuber says that he does understand the decision, but it didn't stop Six Flags from issuing a lifetime ban across all the parks. Ow.
And if you're wondering whether he completed the challenge, he did not. He only made it through 7 of the 10 chicken nuggets.
So then you still lost. Yeah, so no, it still wasn't worth it then.
Yeah,
I stand by it wasn't worth it. And then also, yeah, imagine the danger. So if something happens, you're choking on a chicken nugget.
And you're also now on a roller
trapped.
coaster.
There's nothing you can do. See, naughty.
That's what nightmares are made of.
Uh-huh.
All right. All right, well, moving on to the next one. If your car looks yellow every morning, you're definitely not alone.
Yeah, the dusty coating actually showing up on the cars, your porches, patios, all across Northwest Ohio is a sure sign of what season we're specifically in.
Here's meteorologist Kaylee Bowers.
Does anyone else have this issue? You wake up in the morning, you head out to your car, and it's just covered in yellow dust? That's tree pollen. Spring is peak pollen season because trees release a huge amount of pollen into the air to reproduce. And on dry, breezy days, that pollen can travel for miles. That's why your car, your porch, everything outside gets covered in pollen. All I can say is, welcome to spring.
Yeah, and if it feels like allergy season lasts longer than it used to, there's actually a reason for that.
Experts say warmer temperatures are helping to extend pollen season, with tree pollen still lingering as grass pollen starts to peak across the area.
Pollen, 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 pollen. So much pollen.
I know, yeah, right? Well, we like the warm weather, but
and we love what it brings because it's beautiful. I love the grass and the whatnot. It does look sad when there's not, a lot of foliage, but if we could fix that somehow, fix the pollen allergy irritants. Work on that.
Wouldn't that be great? All right, a small town landmark getting a second chance.
Yeah, nearly 5 years after a fire destroys one of Berkey's most familiar buildings, the doors opening once again. Hey, here in the village of Berkey, you see this right behind me? That's a Keeler's Corners store, and it's actually back up and will be officially running. A soft launch is happening on June 1st. Now, if you can recall, this store actually 5 years ago basically burned down to the ground. It was nothing but just the brick, lots of smoldering ash. But like a phoenix rising out of the ashes, it comes anew. Speaking with the co-owner, Gary Keeler, he says he's excited and happy and appreciates the fact that the community never left him as he was rebuilding for the last 5 years. So if you are interested, he welcomes the entire community and the community at large to come and check him out. Again, June 1st is when he will be opening his doors and hopefully serving breakfast. Now, of course, it isn't just a store that's reopening. It's for many in Berkey, returning to a community gathering, really just a place to meet and just share some news and good fun and food.
Yeah, and that building, it dates back to 1913. How awesome is that, though? And you really did a great job telling the story that morning about, neighbors coming, everyone coming to the central location to, gossip, share breakfast, a coffee, like just, chit chat and have that community.
What I love, though, is the fact that while every time I go, I can see the camaraderie, they see the camera, they leave.
That's how it goes. And the owners made a point of saving as much of the original structure as possible during their rebuild.
Yeah, neighbors helped keep the project going over the past 5 years, with many saying that they never stopped believing the store would definitely come back.
Now, after years of work, Keeler's Corners is getting a new chapter while keeping a big piece of Berkey's history alive. Finally, on your feed, a new local character that's been turning heads and getting honks all over town.
Yeah, he's 8 feet tall, so super normal, covered in fur and spending his summer trying to make a lot of people smile. Anthony DeFilippo has the story.
He's calling himself Toledo Kong, the dancing gorilla. Despite the heat, he's spending hours inside an 8-foot inflatable costume.
A couple weeks ago, we went down to Vegas on Fremont Street, and they had the gorillas out there on Fremont Street. And on the plane ride back, I thought about it, and Toledo don't have nothing like this.
Toledo Kong is choosing to keep his real name anonymous, saying he doesn't want to ruin the magic for the kids, making his debut on Memorial Day at the Green Lantern on Broadway.
I do this for free, and I just accept a gratuity as taking pictures. I give out free hugs, got free water for the kids.
Saturday marked just his second public appearance, returning to the Green Lantern. Toledo Kong says the response has been more than he ever expected.
Overwhelmed at the response that we got. Just overwhelmed. Everybody enjoyed it, taking videos, honking.
Toledo Kong hopes to expand to local metro parks throughout the summer. Until then, he wants people to remember the reason he put on the suit in the first place.
I want to bring joy and a positive outlook to the kids in Toledo and Toledo in general.
Now, Toledo Kong is hoping to take Toledo Kong beyond South Toledo with plans to visit area metro parks and other community events coming up this summer.
I hope he is cool during this time period. Now, if you want to see Toledo Kong and you're out and about, don't be surprised if he offers a free hug, a photo, or even a bottle of water.
Oh, that's nice. He's giving that out instead of, drinking it for himself. Hopefully he stays cool, though.
He should share a banana.
Hydrated. And those are the stories that will have you talking on your feed from our WTOL 11 team here.
Yes, and from big local headlines to the fun stories that make you just stop scrolling. Thanks for spending some time, a few minutes with us.
You can find all of these stories scrolling now on your favorite social media platform, plus more local news, weather, and sports anytime.
And if something shows up on your feed tomorrow, there's a good chance we'll be talking about it right here.
We'll see you next time on Your Feed.